Community of practice has been a long evolution of the notion that people could come together and collaborate at a really deep level, and as a result of that collaboration, create new knowledge and adapt practice in ways that if you're working in the early childhood field, for example, results in better outcomes for kids.
First of all, I think the business community, I hope everyone knows the business community cares a lot about this issue. There isn't a company that I know of in this country, a major company, who doesn't have K-12 education as a top priority. Many have birth through 5, the Smart Start type of age bracket.
That is a difficult question and hard to sort of boil down to 3 things. But I think if I could say in rank order, the first thing that we've got to figure out is how we're going to finance this system. And I don't think that we have given enough thought to exactly how we're going to do that, because it's obvious that child care, especially in this country, costs more than most families can afford. And so we've got to figure out how to pay for it, which gets me to the second biggest challenge I think that the country has, and that's what do we do with the workforce? Because we need a better trained workforce, but if we can't afford to pay them what either the cost of getting that training or what it takes to keep them after we've trained them, then that's useless. And so I think those 2 things are sort of they're interconnected, and they really require some pretty hard thinking. And then I think the last challenge is that how we communicate the messages about early care and education to parents.
Appreciative inquiry is about asking new questions in order to generate new conversations and new energy in the life of organizations.
The earlier we invest in human capital, and when I mean human capital, I mean in the next generation of Americans, in terms of education, both in terms of cognitive development, character development. The sooner we make that investment, the larger the payoff, and the better off we are as a nation from a national security perspective. As you know, probably better than I do, one of the challenges that we're already facing and will continue to face as we move into the future as a country, as a nation, is the lack of, if you will, qualified workers, potential employees that will be able to go into the job market and compete effectively on a global scale. And that's a challenge. The sooner we address that challenge by investing in early childhood development, the better off as a country will be.
Well, first we have to recognize that we can't continue to do it all by ourselves. We can't continue to go it alone and just take on more and more tasks and responsibilities. That the need is very great for us to know how to develop other people as leaders, because we're getting exhausted and overwhelmed, and there's no end in sight to the kinds of issues and problems we're facing as formal leaders.
So like I said, we're going to have a conversation, and we were going to ask Linda to start. And really, we wanted you to give us sort of a big overview of what you think the administration's priorities are around young children, kids from 0 to 5. So help us.
And the problem is they said keep it to 5 minutes.
That's right.
That's hard for me, just so you know. Actually, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to come down here and be a part of a discussion like this. It's terrific. I want to start by saying I don't think it's a surprise to anyone in this audience of what the administration's sort of goals and vision are, and I think they are embodied in what we are doing around Race to the Top, Early Learning Challenge, as well as the designation renewal system around Head Start. And that basically is to ensure that all children who enter our schools are entering schools ready to learn and with what they need to be successful later on in life. And that's fairly simple in many ways. I like to put that another way because one of the things that I'm going to make a first link to my former military background. I had an Army colonel, and you'll know General Lucky he'll instantly recognize this. He was Brown Shoe Army, and he'll know what that means. And he said to me one time when we were talking about early childhood, he said, "Linda, give it to me simple, stupid." And so I think one of the things that I have paid attention to over my career is how do we say what we're trying to do in language that the average person can understand and not make it too jargony. So I really try and say that what we're trying to do in this administration is to ensure that all children who are cared for with funds that are in public funded programs are safe, healthy, happy, and learning. And in a nutshell, that's what we're trying to do and what we're all about.